right, welcome back to a heavily requested video. I'm sorry about the recent tier lists on the channel. I never wanted this to be my main channel content, but they're fun to make. You guys really enjoy them, and they're just way easier to produce than my regular guides. I try to space them out, but I did upload a couple in the recent few days because I really wanted to make a tier list. And so here we go. I've got the 17 that I have produced, and we're going to go through each and every one of these. So the first one that started it all was the updated range tier list. Now, this was over an hour long. It was every single ranged weapon in the game. This was actually back when I streamed on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I was not a Twitch affiliate at the time, and we had 800 people watching at one point on YouTube. It was kind of a big deal making that list, and it was a lot of effort to put that together. Obviously, S tier, of course. I mean, every single range weapon. The fact that I never followed it up with a melee video is honestly just... I don't know why. This video got a ton of views. People really enjoyed it. It was all around good. Why I never made a melee version, I don't know. But that's coming. I highly look forward to it. There are a couple of ways to do it. I don't want to necessarily split up axes and spears and everything differently, but we'll see. I do want to do melee at some point. Continuing the updated range tier list, a couple years later, we have now started on the other weapons, like the assault weapons tier list. That goes through every single assault weapon in the game, and obviously it's an S tier video. I mean, assault weapons are some of the strongest in the game. I really like some of my picks, and I stand by it. One of the first videos that actually kicked this off was, I'm sorry, Iwari, but it did, was Archer actually recommended hero abilities. And I'm going to give him full credit for this, because I thought it was a ridiculous idea. I'm like, seriously? Hero abilities? How is that even a video? But looking at my channel, it actually was one of the more popular ones. You guys really enjoyed it for some inexplicable reason, but thinking back on it, talking about hero abilities was one of the more interesting things. So obviously an S tier video, in my opinion. I think it was really cool to just talk through lefty and righty, minigun, shockwave, and just put them all up on a list. And these are always for fun. You know, I'm just ranking them based on my highly informed, but my opinion at the end of the day. So a lot of people had lots of different things to say. And then following that, we also continued along, of course. I think actually the very first tier list I made coming back to the series was the ninja tier list. Obviously S tier, because I talked about every single ninja in the game. You can see just by the background and the characters in the thumbnail, there was a lot to rank, and there are some big lists coming yet. In fact, lately on the stream, people recommended I do a shotgun tier list, which I saw how many were listed, and I was tired that day and went, that's nearly 30 shotguns. We'll do this another day. So that was definitely a big one. A big one to follow as well was the soldier tier list as well. Obviously S tier, because we talked about every single soldier in the game. That took a half an hour to record, and I was trying to go quick. That one was really fun. It's nice to rank stuff because I'm liking the idea of doing them separately, because I feel like all heroes is a nice tier list to have, but how do you compare certain ninjas, like a ninja that buffs sword damage to a soldier that buffs grenade damage? Those are two completely different things, and it's just really difficult to put them on the same list there. So Outlanders as well, super S tier list in my opinion. Ranked every single one of them. Outlanders are some of the most useful in the game, and their abilities and everything just make them extremely versatile. The fact that you can farm at the same time as doing high damage output, it's a really nice combination, and definitely a big one to follow as well. Constructors, of course, completing the quartet of all the heroes in the game. Obviously S tier, because we talked about every single constructor in the game. They are among the most useful in the entire game as well, because building up base defenses and having strong walls that heal themselves and kill enemies is a beautiful way to AFK. It's not how I enjoy to play, but hey, in a low enough V-Buck mission, I'll just throw down a base and then hang out with chat or walk away if I'm not streaming. So yeah, continuing on the weapons, we did SMGs recently. Definitely S tier, of course, because I talked about every single SMG in the game. Turns out there are only about 19 on that list, and there aren't that many SMGs. It's one of the smaller subtypes in the game, but it hosts some of the most powerful weapons in the entire game. So definitely fun to look at all of those. Traps as well, obviously S tier, because we talked about every single trap in the game. Traps are extremely useful. I mean, they are fundamental to defending some of the hardest missions of the game. So ranking all of those was super fun, and I definitely had a good time. Rockets as well. definitely S tier because I ranked every single rocket in the game, and they are among the strongest weapons in the game. And recently, I will tie this in with the materials tier list, which is also S tier because we talked about every single material in the game. I ranked Bright Core lower than everybody would have liked, and I got a lot of comments that were upset about that. They're like, what, Bright Core is so good because launchers use them, and I abstain. That's not the right word. I object to that point because I would say every single launcher in the game is universally nerfed by being restricted to Bright Core. So I stand by my pick. Sunbeam is superior, and Sunbeam launchers would be fantastic. I would take that lower durability in a heartbeat. But one of the weapons as well was the pistol tier list. Obviously S tier because I ranked every single pistol in the game. Pistols aren't the strongest weapons in the game, but if you ever just try to switch things up, I'm sorry, Walry, but they aren't that strong. If you do want to switch things up, some pistols are worth using. Most of them are pretty not great, but Whisper 45 with the right build, pretty good. Not gonna lie, it's solid. Modifier tier list, obviously S tier because this video outperformed expectations once again, and I ranked every single modifier. I again thought this was just silly. I almost didn't make this video. I almost had to have my arm twisted, but it was one of the more popular lists. It's just kind of fun to go through something you don't normally talk about, mission modifiers, and rank them, you know, see how good certain modifiers are compared to others. And as well as that was the actual missions tier list, which is obviously S tier because we talked about nearly every mission. We did leave out a few just because there were certain event ones, like I think we left out Storm King. That was kind of a mistake, but I mean, yeah, that's obviously S tier as well because it's the Storm King fight. But yeah, and currently, as I'm recording this, there's a bug that isn't allowing weekly challenges, so you can't even get Mythic Weapons. So I'm sorry, Walry, but it's true. And so that's I just thought that was interesting. Gadgets, obviously S tier because once again, we ranked every single gadget in the game, and again outperformed expectations. I thought, seeing as there's only like 8 gadgets in the entire game, it's not going to be much to talk about, but gadgets are extremely unique with very, very different properties. Like the teleporter and the landmines are 2 very different gadgets. Once you throw in the drones and the adrenaline rush, it gave me a lot to talk about and was actually a pretty fun video in general. I would love to rank more silly things like that. I think 8 gadgets was not enough for a video, but then you start talking about them and you find out there's a lot more going on under the hood. Llamas tier list, easily S tier because we talked about all of the event llamas, and that one might get a remake because they just updated it so that you can't spend V-Bucks on llamas anymore, which did affect some of my decisions in that video. So I might do a new one including all of the regular upgrade llamas as well that aren't necessarily locked to an event, and it could be an interesting thing to look at again. Bows, obviously S tier because we talked about every single bow in the game, and that one's fun. I don't know how many more ways I could talk about the bows. I've done the best bows video. I've done best perks for individual bows. I'm sorry, Walry. I just had to cover them individually because people want to know. And I did a top 5 bows, and now I've done a tier list, which coincidentally did not line up as well with the top 5. The top 5, I included the powder keg, but that was more so diversity rather than individual single target damage. So the tier list and the top 5 aren't exactly aligned. That might confuse some people, but in the end, I think I made the right call. AWalry's claiming that this tier list is biased. In no way is this biased. I have no connection to any of these videos. I am a third-party observer simply giving my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what tier list you might want to see next, and if I should update this in the future. I don't know if there will ever be a day when I've done every tier list. I don't think that could be possible. I mean, once we start ranking all the different rock types, I think we'll know we are at rock bottom. So I'll see you guys next time, and take it easy.